Yeah, we like now. Good morning, everyone. Thank you for joining us this morning. It's a beautiful morning. It's June 12th. We're celebrating democracy. We're celebrating independence. We're celebrating God's gift of life. I know a lot of things has happened in the last 6 months, but God has counted us worthy to be here today. So we're grateful. You know, a lot of things have been happening. Um, the president actually on Twitter. And it's funny that a lot of us use these applications. I use a lot of things. We look at the T and C and we gloss through it, and we just, we just continue like that. And when issues happen, most times we need to go back. And I think the same thing happens to sex as well. There are terms and conditions around sex. In spite of the fact that a lot of us have had sex even before we started practicing it, and some of us are even practicing and enjoying sex, and we don't really know what are the technicalities and what is working for us. We don't even know that it could be shared and encouraged by people. So today we're going to be looking at those sex habits that makes, it's like the T and C of sex that makes sex more beautiful. I know that in our last conversation, Dr. Tolu actually explained a lot of things to us. She told us about sex, why sex is good, why sex boosts our mental agility and helps our physical wellness. She said a lot of things. So today again, I'm still your host. I'm Adesita Afolabi. I'm the MD of Wellness Healthcare Group. I'm a pharmacist by profession. I'm a wellness coach by calling. I love to share the news of wellness all around me because I know that with wellness, you're actually good to face life. And with me today is Joshua. You already know Joshua. This is the third time you're meeting Joshua. He's our interpreter. He's reaching out to the group of people that love to be a part of us. They are happy that we have included them. And today is Dr. Michaels. So Dr. Michaels is a sex therapist. He's a medical doctor. He's a marriage counselor. Is a parenting counselor. So you can imagine everything around sex, about children, about well-being. Dr. Michaels is a whole lot. He has written some books. He has written some books on marriage and what makes marriage feel. And you'll be surprised what makes marriage feel. He will share his social media handles to us at the end of this meeting so that we can know what some of those things he does. And you can reach out directly to him. I know that a lot of people are trying out to me and tell me about our facilitators. I always say that you should DM directly because I've not been allowed to give their direct numbers. So if you're on this platform, please don't forget that you have the opportunity to ask questions as we go on. Dr. Michael is a seasoned sex therapist. He's cool, he's loaded. So just be expectant and please share this link with friends and family. I'm going to share some feedbacks from the last webinar. I'll share the feedbacks. You don't just want to listen to this alone. Please share with friends, share with families, because if sex affects the functionality of a man in the boardroom, then you know that the bedroom is powerful. And so we need to ensure that everybody is cool. And if sex affects the way a woman perceives herself, it affects the way a woman, a woman's outlook. Like when you say a boisterous woman, you can say that this woman is being taken care of in the boardroom, not just the finances. So if that can happen, and with women even rules the world. Dr. Tolu said women has the capacity. God gave them the inner capacity to enjoy sex more than men. So please, if you're on this timeline right now, I need you to forward the link to everybody around you. They need to be a part of this because what we're doing here is something that everybody needs to hear. Thank you very much. So you please forward the link out and make sure you send a chat to us. I want to read out the testimonies that I got in the last 1 month. So this is dear Mrs. Afolabi. Everybody likes to play anonymity. So I want to tell you the name. Thank you for the webinar on when sex is not happening. I've been married for 10 years, but I was ever too shy to ask for what I want. Now I'm asking, and I'm enjoying sex now. We have been tweeting to ourselves and enjoying retweets with trending feelings. Please don't tell Baba Boo Boo. This person is trending. She's having fun. So this is another one. Oh, dear madam, my wife now says thank you to me after sex. Because now I do not only focus on penetration and how long it takes to ejaculate. And I now know that what happens before penetrating is good for her. So this man is already taking clue from the last seminar that the woman enjoys sex before ejaculation. If you don't even, before you penetrate. So penetration is another thing. You know, Dr. Tolu, you also told us that the size of the penis is not important. So for everybody buying drugs to increase the size of the penis, he said it's not important. It's how you use it. Is the different places that the penis eats inside that makes sense. So please don't overwork your liver and trying to get good sex. So this is another person. Dear man, I've had sex for years, but made an error of thinking good sex is what I watch in movies. Now we're getting better at it and happy being adventurous together. I've stopped complaining. You know, she defined good sex as what the two of you make out of sex, not what you read or what you watch or what you see in pornographies or what your friends tell you that this is how good sex is. He said it's the experience that the two of you create that makes sense to you, and that is what good sex. And so this man said he stopped complaining. So he stopped harassing his wife to do more or do less. So they're concentrating on growing together and enjoying sex together. And for me, if I've not had anything in the last 3 months on this webinar, I can tell you this is fundamental to me. This feedback, they are strong, they are well pronounced. It shows that people are listening to us. So if you're on this platform, I'm saying that you should just send the link out again. Guys, please help me to put the link on the chat box so that people can also share it to friends and family. So here we are. We're going to talk about sex habits that could hurt your relationship or improve your relationship. I need to tell you that this is brought to you by Wellness Healthcare Group. This is brought to you by Wellness Healthcare Group. Wellness Healthcare Group has been taking care of people through our pharmaceutical channels. We have pharmacies, and through our HMO, we've improved access to care. For every client on Wellness Healthcare Group, one of the things that they enjoy is the fact that we truly care. Wellness empathize, we have listening ears. We do not bend the rules, but we're so approachable, we're flexible in the decision we make. And most importantly, for everybody that work with wellness, I'll say shout out to my team right now. There's something that we've practiced over the last 6 months, and that is empathy. And we were surprised the extent at which empathy makes the work so easy for us. So we think of you much more than you even think of yourself, because we know that no life can be replaced. So every life that is on our platform is well taken care of. So if you have not enrolled to Wellness HMO now, please do. Please do reach out to us and let us buy a Wellness HMO plan. Or if you're in Alakpere or Maryland, visit our outlet. So Dr. Michaels.
Hi.
Are you ready for us?
Very, very ready.
So Dr. Michaels, what are sex habits? You know, people are asking me to, which one is this one? I said, no. You are the ones that choose the title of our webinar. I'm not the one. Left to me, I will not go into this because I'm not an experienced sex. I'm even not an experienced. I don't go into this. It's one of the most difficult topic that someone reached out to us to treat. And I hope at the end of this, you would have seen that we've done justice to it, which we try our best. So what are sex habits? I don't know what sex habits are myself. What are sex habits?
All right, so thank you very much for having me here. It's a great privilege, and it's a great work that you are doing out there. All right, so sex habits or habits generally are things that we do over and over again, one, and then it becomes a routine. And then from becoming a routine, obviously, it's something we do over and over again. But there's something about it. The fourth word is that we do it over and over again till it becomes subconscious. So number one, there are routine things that we do. Number two is they are regular, since they are routine stuff. And then number three is that they become, we do it as long as we do it over and over again, they become subconscious. Once they become subconscious, number four is they literally take the life of themselves. Like they have a life of themselves, and they operate with or without our permission. So initially, it was voluntary. It was an action we took by ourselves. We made a decision, we made a choice, and then suddenly, by the time it becomes subconscious, it's no longer something we do voluntarily. It's now something that has taken a life of its own and can literally operate by itself.
Sex habits that the routine things we do. The part about habits that I'm scared of is the fact that habits can actually take over your whole life.
Yeah.
And they act and they become an individual in your life. So something that happens and you're wondering, did I just do this? Because they have moved from the place of voluntary action or a regular thing. They now have a life of their own. They become a personality. Wow,
exactly.
That's serious. That's serious. Exactly. That's serious. I'm afraid of bad habits. I'm afraid. I just got afraid of bad habits now. I need to go and do some. I need to go and do some analysis of my life and see some things that are taking hold of my life without my permission. I need to stop them. So can you help us with some of the good sexual habits that you will encourage our audience to practice for more fulfillment and satisfaction in their relationship?
Okay, so as we have positive habits or positive sexual habits, we also have negative sexual habits. So positive sexual habits are things that we do that end up having positive effects, not only on our relationship or our marriages, but also in our own lives. Like it literally helps us become a better person, because actually marriages are reflections of, or the state of a marriage is a reflection of the state of health or mental health of each person in that marriage. So by the time each person is better, it literally reflects on the marriage. And so positive sexual habits range from, like I love that part where you talked about empathy. People are yet to understand that there's a link between life skills and sexual skills or bedroom. If you are naturally empathetic, you have empathy as one of your major life skills, you will literally do well in sex, because you would want to put the other person in your own shoes, and you want to put yourself in other person's shoe, and then you want to think like the other person. You want to say, okay, so if I do this, what will be the expected result, or will it be okay with this person? And so, usually guys now on the street don't really want to have foreplay. They don't want to have romance, which is very important for a woman, but they want to just go ahead to have penetration. And I'm really happy for that feedback that we got. So, but once a guy has empathy, he literally moves from seeing sex as being physical only to also seeing sex as being psychological. Once a woman also has empathy, it literally helps her to see sex beyond being psychological to also being something physical. Then listening ability. I've had a lot of sessions where the lady is saying something, but the guy is not listening. And listening has to do with, is based on several things: maturity, self-assessment, and the capacity and the ability to be able to filter and see through what the person is saying. So listening is much more than hearing. For example, a lady has like experienced traffic at a particular place. She goes to her friends and then she tells them that, oh, I had traffic. There was traffic on that particular road. The ladies are not interested they're not really interested in solving the problem, at least the first step. They're literally interested in dressing the problem. But when when she says, oh, she had traffic, oh my God, you had traffic, oh my God. Is your car in a good condition? Like, were you able to eat? Were you able to get drink? Oh my God, I'm sure you were just oh my God, you must be so, I'm sure you were in a very uncomfortable situation. But when she gets home and then she tells her husband says, I've always told you not to take that route at that particular time. The woman was not telling you to be corrected. She was literally telling you to be listened to. And by telling you, she will get to process her answer. She's not really waiting for you to tell her what to do. So the same thing too, when, I just remember the lady now, several women, I tell them that guys need to listen and ask the lady, how do you want in bed? Like, guys are literally so proud. I'm a guy, as you can see, I have beard. Guys are literally
that's why we have a man discussing this as well, because we had a woman the last time, so that it can be a balanced view.
Exactly. So guys are so proud based on the upbringing and the false education that most guys had when they were growing up. So they find it difficult. We always assume that we know. Oh my God, that's a very wrong thing to do. We always assume that we know everything about sex. Most guys don't even know anything about sex. And as a matter of fact, I came up with a conclusion that if you see any guy that is good in bed, he was taught by a woman, because women are more sensual and sexual than men. So it's either he was raped by one Nosimot when he was 10 years old or 12 years old or something, or his wife taught him or something. So by the time a man gets to listen to his wife. So I told the woman that, oh, guys don't get to listen. She said, you don't listen. Oh, she was just shaking her leg. You know, when the woman is shaking her leg, she's very serious.
You are too much. Too much.
She just said, we just open our legs. Let them just do whatever they want to do and just get out. Man, sex must be mutual for us to enjoy it. So ability to be able to carry the other person along, that's teamwork. Can you see the great connection between life skills and bedroom? More like a good boardroom will also give birth to a good bedroom atmosphere. There are many other things, like many people have sex, but they've not even gone to carry out a research or read about it. These are positive sexual habits that we need to literally imbibe and inculcate into our consciousness. And then from there, it becomes part of us. And then we are able to become very good together and have good sex with our partners.
Thank you, Dr. Michael. So, wellness team that we're training empathy, you can see that the empathy can actually lead to very good family when you are either listening to your wife or your husband in bed. So life skills and sex skills are quite related. So what you're saying is that if a man is good in the boardroom and practice the skill that makes him good in the boardroom, the teamwork, the carrying his staff along, listening to the feedback from his team, and asking them what they want, you can actually practice that same thing at home in the bedroom. So if you're a very good team player at work, you should actually be the greater team player in the house. We said that God actually gave us 2 ears and 1 mouth so that we can listen more. So you're saying that listening skills, if deployed in the bedroom, an average family might not go through the kind of pains that they go through right now. And the fact that the positivity you have outside the bedroom, if you translate it to the positivity in the bedroom, that is very important. You made a profound statement. You said men don't know about sex. So for a woman that your husband is putting you under pressure, that this is how it is, I think one of the things that the two of you should do is, can we read about sex and understand what it is like? So you have people that have had sex for over 30 years and they've not read anything about sex. And because you've been having the sex for 30 years, you believe you know. Sometimes you do not know. Exactly. And because you do not know, it is very important for you to come to that level without that ego to ask your wife, how do you want it? And Dr. Tolu also told the women last month that you should also come out and say, guy, this is how I want it. So there's no point keeping quiet and feeling judged. And men, when your wife says this is how I want it, you've not been doing it well, don't feel that she's smashing your ego. It's just the time for her now to come out and enjoy what God has given to her to enjoy, because sex was created by God for satisfaction and also for procreation. We're talking about the satisfaction part because it makes the world go round. Okay, thank you, Doctor. Thank you, Dr. Michaels.
Thank you.
So what do we mean when we say sexual dysfunction? I'll ask three questions. What do we mean when we say sexual dysfunction? And what are the types of sexual dysfunction? And the symptoms the men on this platform and the women on this platform can identify so that they can seek help.
Okay, so thank you. Sexual dysfunction has to do more with problems that prevent us from enjoying sex. Literally, just something as simple as anything that prevents us from enjoying sex, the fullness of the enjoyment that comes with sex, because sex is meant to bring joy, it's meant to bring happiness, it's meant to bring fulfillment, it's meant to bring enjoyment, but it's meant to also bring pleasure. So of course, there's more to sex than pleasure, but anything that prevents us from experiencing the pleasure and the enjoyment that comes with sex literally can be defined as sexual dysfunction. And there are different categories based on gender, based on medical conditions, based on psychological conditions and issues. One of the major psychological causes of sexual dysfunction is stress. A major one is stress. And stress can be defined as taking something that is picking up something or an activity that is beyond your mental, physical, psychological, or emotional capacity or ability. So once we take up something that is beyond, so it's more like more like demand is more than supply. So when we have demand being more than supply, that's when stress comes in. Once that takes place, it starts with physical stress and then it graduates into emotional stress. Our lives go in the direction of our emotions. So also is our sex life. Our sex life literally goes in the direction of our emotion. So whatever gets our emotion also gets our bedroom life. So in order to revive our bedroom life, we need to revive and be in control of our emotions with what we call emotional mastery. So once we are able to manage stress, you can manage stress effectively by getting to understand who you are. That's self-discovery. And from there, go ahead to take stock of the abilities you have as a person, understanding what you can do and what you cannot do. Like if you are at the place of your work, you have been able to develop refusal skills to be able to say these and these are things I can take up, and these and these are things I cannot take up. And you know, I had a lady, I didn't even ask her out though. She was just my reading partner. Was in school, medical school. And then she just said, we're in the cab, and she just said, I can't go out with you because you don't know how to combine things or multitask. And I said, well, I didn't even ask you out. You're just my reading partner for crying out loud. She must have sized me up or something. I don't know. But of course, she was right. Then I didn't know how to combine things together. But now you don't want to know how many things I get to do in a day. All right. So you need to be able to know what your abilities are, because that will help you to know how far you can go. Once you go beyond that level, you will literally introduce stress into your life, and it will affect the way you relate with your spouse or your partner. It will prevent you from saying hi to your wife at home. Like guys want to buy like a big, like a 5-star hotel for their wives. They want to like buy an airplane They want to buy like a big ship for their wives. But all that the wives are asking for is a 1-minute call, a 5-minute call during the day, just a text that, oh, baby, I love you. That's all. But the guy is busy thinking, oh, let me gather in money, let me work more, let me take in more responsibilities at work so that I get to be promoted, I get to have more money, and then I can take my wife out. She's dying of affection, she's dying of attention, and you're not giving her that. And then the next thing you do is now come home, and then you grab her from behind, or you grab her from the front, and then she's saying, no, I'm not available. And then you're wondering, I'm your husband, so what? So, so you need to, for a lady, sex starts from the morning. It starts from earlier, because sex is more psychological for a woman. So you need to start much more earlier than the guy. So we guys, you can grab us anywhere. We are always ready to have sex, anywhere, anytime, any day. Thank you very much. So that's psychological. So a major psychological factor is stress. Once you can deal with stress, you will be in your right frame of mind. You will be in the right, you will have the right health. You'll be able to fight diseases more, and then you'll be healthy, and then you'll be in the right frame of mind to be able to have good sex. Now, stress can also bring about premature ejaculation that occurs in men. In fact, I had a discussion with a major surgeon in urology. Can you hear me?
Wow.
Hi.
Yes, we can hear you, doctor.
Okay, so I had a major discussion with a surgeon, and he said that this surgeon works more on the penis of men and urology. And he said, I just confirmed for him that, sir, I think majority of premature ejaculation that men have, it can be traced to psychological issues. And he said yes. So yes, some of the premature ejaculations that men experience can be traced to medical conditions, but actually most of it, if not majority of it, can be traced to psychological issues. So once you are not stressed, and then you also understand your body so well, and you know how to get strong erection, you will literally be able to overcome psychological issues that are associated with sexual dysfunction. The second one is there are drugs that also cause sexual dysfunction, for like antidepressants, like antihypertensives, and you might need to visit your doctor to be able to review the prescription or the dosages. For women, of course, hormonal issues, menopause, even for guys too, like from 70, the level of testosterone starts reducing, and then their interest in sex starts reducing. But by the time you understand that, then you can start working on it to be able to improve your sexual life in the bedroom.
Thank you, Dr. Michael. You said our lives moves in the direction of our emotions, so also our sex lives. And for a woman, sex is more psychological. While for men, he actually said men are ready all the time. Sex is more physical, so they see and they grab. But for a woman, you must have done something that will make her allow you to grab. So we need to sow into the psychological needs of the woman. Don't wait till you get the money to buy a Bugatti to show your love. Just a rose, or a bar of chocolates, or just a text message, 4 naira, or a WhatsApp chat that does not cost you anything apart from the data that you subscribe to, can make a woman to be psychologically ready for the grabbing when you get home. So we need to pay attention to all that. Thank you, Doctor. Thank you, Dr. Michael. So you can separate your emotions from your sex life. Okay, there's a question here about Why should an average person be bothered about sexual self-indulgence? We know that a lot of people do some level of self-indulgence, which you can also share with us. And is masturbation and use of sex toys harmful?
Okay, so the short answer is self-indulgence is something you do excessively, without restriction, without restraint, to satisfy your own sexual desire or passion or pleasure. So the short answer to masturbation and sex toys, which a lot of people are really concerned about, is you go into masturbation, there's a probability that you will get so much in love with your clitoris, with your body, or with your penis at the expense of the love you will have for your partner. So
at the expense of, I didn't get that.
So there's a probability that you will get to develop a kind of love that is higher for your clitoris, if you're a female, or for your penis as a man, much more than the love you would have for your partner. So there's a strong possibility and a strong probability that you will end up loving your penis or to sex therapy, or your dick much more than your pussy or your vagina and your clitoris. So there's great possibility. So it's a very tricky place to be, and if you are not careful, you might end up sacrificing your marriage, because these things are psychological. And once your body is like the internet. It depends on who is using it. So whichever direction you put your body in will literally determine the direction your body will follow. So there's a thin line between the mind does not know how to differentiate between reality and non-reality. And somebody said the mind is the best sexual organ. So whatever action you take reinforces, supplies information to the mind. And once it gets into the subconscious mind, it becomes an habit. It takes its own life, and it might go beyond your own control. And at the end of the day, you might not be able to control it. So that's just the issue we have with masturbation and self-indulgence, and then sex toys. The issue with sex toys too is with hygiene. You might need to get it clean. Introducing it into your vagina might get you, if it's not clean, if it's not well taken care of, it could introduce infection there. Then using it with multiple people, could also predispose you to infections like that. So you might, and then if you also use sex toys too, these things bring joy, they bring enjoyment. Let us not lie. But you might end up falling in love with your sex toy more than your partner. So you now discover that until you have sex with your sex toy, you won't enjoy sex, even though you have a partner that is giving you and is doing all he could or she could in making you happy in bed. And there's a thin line in all these things. So you might need to be very careful.
Thank you, Dr. Thank you, Dr. Michael. So if someone gets into the habit of self-indulgence, such as using toys or any object to excite themselves, and you affirm the fact that it's enjoyable, you enjoy it, you like it, but just like the definition you gave about habits, at a time you do it voluntarily, at a time it becomes a subconscious thing. You begin to do it, you're not even aware. Then after a while, the self-indulgence, the masturbation, the use of sex toys could take a life of its own. And what happens most time is the probability of now longing for your partner might be reduced, because you are falling in love with self-indulgence. You're falling in love with satisfying yourself without a third party. And that could be dangerous, especially if you are in a marital relationship, because you might not be longing for your spouse again. And I think that's the area of concern that people should now be careful of. So if that's the area of concern for people using sex toys, you have talked about infection, you have talked about people ensuring the hygiene part of the toys, not sharing it with people so that they couldn't have infection, or maybe some sexual accident also happened in the process. What can be done? I know that I know parents are when this happens, parents get so much frustrated, because I've had two parents complain about an 18-year-old guy, and that's what he does when nobody's around. He plays a movie and he works. And for the lady, they've seen her, just busting into her room, and she's actually, self-indulging. And the two women were not the same. We had to get to a sex therapist and all that, and said the children needs to visit. What should a parent do, or what should a spouse do when this is happening? How can they get help?
Fantastic. Like you just reminded me. Thank you very much. Personally, between you and I don't bother myself about masturbation, self-indulgence, or stuff like that. I personally want to know what made my client to buy a sex toy. I want to know the why, because asking the why helps us to know the root cause, helps us to know if there is a problem, helps us to know if the use of sex toys or masturbation is actually a secondary problem, that is, meaning that there is actually a primary problem. So I would want to sort out the issue of, is there a primary problem giving rise, is there a primary problem motivating, or is the source of motivation and inspiration for this masturbation and this use of sex toys? And that's what we should also be concerned about. Like, how will I say? Loneliness is a void created by past childhood psychological trauma. Loneliness is a void created by past childhood psychological trauma. Once a child has been traumatized, or once a child is coming from a polygamous home, once a child is coming from a broken home, once a child is coming from the parents who are divorced, that child should just know that he or she is vulnerable to anything. That child should not compare him or herself with children from good homes. Good homes in terms of the parents are together. Because, a child needs the two perspectives of a male and a female to be able to have a balanced view of life. Once a child is just taken care of by just one parent, no matter how much that parent tries to help that child and fill in the gap, it's almost impossible. And so what we need to now do is to brace up, because that child, the first two people that a child gets to trust in life are the two parents. And then suddenly the other one of the parents left. That automatically creates trust issues. That child is going to have trust issues. It does not really matter how much money the child was given, or or the kind of school the child went to or attended, or the kind of care. I'm so sorry to say this, but that child should not compare himself or herself with any other child, because that child will have trust issues, loneliness issues. The mental capacity to deal with the stress of life is already broken, impaired. And once the ability to cope with the stress of life is impaired, one will literally look for other things to complement the void or the loneliness. So even if you are married, you still want to look for other things to complement. I mean, let's be sincere here. Let's be sincere here. Is the sexual pressure is so high. And I really kudos to singles out there. They're really going through a lot. Even married people are going through a lot. So there are underlying issues that needs to be dealt with. So the number one step in managing these issues is, one, to identify, seek for a professional help. That's the number one thing, because you won't be able to handle it. You need an objective assessment from a professional. Don't just call anybody. I remember a lady, busty lady. You know, we guys, we like boobs a lot. Busty lady, very fine and everything. That was like year 2000. The lady came for counseling. So she said, she came for counseling. She came to me for counseling year 2000. Please don't ask me how old was I then. And then so she now said, I masturbate. Guess what I did? I just laughed. I said, I said, do ladies masturbate too? That was the end of the discussion. No, that was the end of the session. The lady did not come back. So I learned a very big lesson that you need to show empathy. So you just need to feel the pain that the other person is feeling. So that's why you cannot just afford to just go and meet anybody, a friend or something, because what the method they end up using to solving the problem will determine how far you will go in dealing with that issue. It's going to affect your self-worth and your self-esteem. So number one is seek a professional for help. Number two, a professional will now help in going down memory lane to figure out what the primary problem is. The primary problem could range from low self-esteem to validation, wanting to be validated, to attention-seeking problem, to several other things. So that's the way to go about. Then parents need to be educated. Children are like women. Women want attention, they want to be listened to, and they want to talk. ALT. Parents want, women and children want to be given attention to. They interpret attention. They interpret you giving them attention as love. They want to be listened to. And number three, they want to talk. Once you shut down your woman, you have just succeeded in shutting down your life, because your woman has a major key. She's a major shareholder in your life. So whoever shuts down a woman or his wife has just succeeded in shutting down his destiny. And I'm very serious. I'm very serious.
Coming from a man, really?
Yeah. Yeah.
Thank you, Dr. Michaels. I appreciate this. So when someone is masturbating or fixated on sexual toys, instead of saying mogbe, or instead of crying and all that, what is important is not the act, but the why. Exactly. And it's very important for everybody listening to us to begin to look at engaging the right, maybe a sexual therapist or a psychologist to look at this, because there is more to this. And you said that some of those things, the truth is that this person might actually be complementing a void in his life.
Exactly.
And because of the pressure for pleasure, the person begins to self-indulge. And another set of things that could happen is someone that is seeking attention, somebody that is has a low self-esteem, somebody that is psychologically traumatized, or someone that has trust issue. So when someone has trust issue, instead of asking for another human being to allow them to enjoy the pleasure that God has created, it can self-indulge to enjoy that, because you can actually enjoy the pleasure without another person, even though it's meant to be done with two people, with an opposite person. But because you do not trust someone else to do this for you, you would rather do it by yourself and enjoy it by yourself. So instead of crying and over the act, we should look away from the act and say, how do we really get up for this person? Because it's more psychological. Because when someone self-indulge, the person enjoys himself with another person. This is like Mojayori Mimi or anybody. Oh, for the English people, for the people that can't that do not understand you. But this is, I'm chopping my life. I do not care about other people. But sex has to be done with you can communicate and, you know, enjoy the process together. Thank you, doctor. Thank you, Dr. Michael. Thank you, Dr. Michael. No parents listening to us wouldn't beat up the child when you see that child masturbating, but you already know your antenna will be high up there that, man, there's a problem. Please send your questions. Let's send your questions so that we can look at this. I saw questions about what are the implications of, maybe you will answer this question that was sent earlier. What is sexual boredom and how can couples help themselves? I don't want to say maybe this is why people go out and seek for help instead of, my daughter told me once that school is boring. You do the same thing over and over again. And I said life can also be boring because most adults just have a timetable for life. I wake up this time around at this time of the day. I pray, I don't pray, I brush, I dress up, I go to work, then I come back. So she said school is boring. I said life can naturally be boring as well, because I know, in school, there's something to do at every point in time. If there's time to play, there's that time they want you to play. They don't want you to play another time. And I said life could be boring. And I know that, so meaning sex can also be boring to two people. They've enjoyed it, all of a sudden they're bored. They're not having fun again. How can people rejig the process?
Okay, so no, there are two things I will say, and then I will talk about how to manage sexual boredom. Number one is that understanding the why behind sex takes away boredom. Just as understanding the whys behind life takes away boredom. Ever since I understood the why behind life, I have never been bored in my life. I have never gotten up from bed and feel like, oh my God, this is am I going to get up again and then start working or get anything done? No, I literally stopped looking up to anybody for help, and I started giving out more help. So sexual boredom is the absence of the lack of asking the why behind sex, understanding the why. The why spice up. We need to look beyond just what are the things that we need to do to spice up, like take her out, touch her. Yeah, those things are there. But life is psychological. Life is not just spiritual. Life is not just physical. Life is not just what else do we say again? Life is also psychological. So you need to go beyond that. Once a woman understands why, no matter how unavailable she is, she will literally make herself available because she knows what button to press to be available. When a man also understands the why behind sex, he literally goes out of his way to do things that an average man will naturally not do. Understanding helps a lot. Then number two is I was going to say something that just ran up behind my mind. Yeah. So like a woman is like 10 times more intelligent than a man. Like we need to accept it. We need to
coming from a man, no. Woman, I hope you guys are hearing this.
A woman is much more intelligent than a man. So a smart man, a wise man, should just accept it, should not fight it, should not even try. You should not even try and fight it. Should just accept it. And that will literally make you to be humble, because humility helps one to listen. Humility helps one to listen. A parent will need to be humble to listen to his child. And a husband too will need to be humble to listen to his wife. Not that women are children, but I just give that analogy. A man needs to be humble, come down from the so-called height that society has placed them, and need to come down and listen. Women are seriously highly intelligent beings. Oh my God. We can't just talk about women today. We talk about women later.
You can see me blushing. I'm blushing. I like that statement. I'm happy hearing it.
So one of the features of your daughter must be highly intelligent, because people with high IQ get tired of things easily. If you like I talk with women a lot. Women get tired of things easily. So a woman will want you to try out several other styles in bed. Once you try out missionary for a while, switch to reverse cowgirl. From reverse cowgirl, switch to cowgirl. From there, let her suck your dick, you to eat her pussy or her walks. And don't say I need to brush my teeth before eating your pussy or before we have sex, before I kiss her. Be spontaneous. Like women like to be challenged. Intelligent people like to be challenged. They like challenges make them to be on their toes. So they are always ready because they are so empowered and they can handle challenges. I mean, they can multitask. I mean, literally. So that is that. Then apart from that, I want to also talk about the fact, the sexual compatibility. If you are, at Quantum Consulting, we encourage virgins to get married to virgins and non-virgins to get married to non-virgins. This is the reason. If you are a virgin and you get married to a non-virgin, and this non-virgin has had sex with like 300 people in his whole lifetime before meeting you. Now, when you are having sex, this non-virgin literally becomes the examiner in the bedroom. And the virgin becomes the student. And then don't forget that life is psychological. So the aura in the room is the room is tensed. The virgin is trying to satisfy the non-virgin. It's not like the virgin is trying to write an exam that will satisfy the examiner. And the examiner is just looking subconsciously and psychologically, oh yeah, please me. So the non-virgin is subconsciously thinking that the virgin should make up and be like the 300 people he or she has slept with in a day or in weeks or in 1 year. Tell me, how is this possible? No, it's going to literally take years for this virgin to match up with
the experience.
Yes. And that is if the virgin is open to learning. That is if the virgin has been reading. Don't forget, we say you have to Google, you have to read, you have to study sex the same way you studied pharmacy, the same way I studied medicine. Imagine. So, but if you are a virgin and you marry a virgin, both of you will learn from each other.
Start ABC together.
Exactly. Because
and you grow together.
Exactly.
No surprises.
No surprises. So non-virgins will get tired easily. I mean, after the missionary, they want to try out other things. They are adventurous. But virgins are saying, oh, this missionary is okay. Let's just stay. Is it not about sex? What's the issue? Why are you turning me up? Why are you turning me up and down? Why are you turning me up and down? What's the meaning of all this? What's this? No, I can't eat your pussy. No, I can't eat it. I can't eat your water. No, I can't suck your dick. No, I can't do that. They told us in our church that no, it's very oral sex is a sin. I can't do it. I can't do it. So it's a whole lot. And those kind of stuff bring boredom and then literally expose the other partner to looking outside. So yeah.
Thank you, Dr. Michael. Thank you very much. So for everybody out there, if you're experiencing boredom in your sexual life, what Dr. Michael is saying is, number one, you need to be able to identify the why behind the sex. Because life is psychological, so also sex is psychological. And when you are able to identify why, it's easier for us to begin to look at what do we stand to gain? How do we enjoy how do we gain the satisfaction? What are the things that we're not doing that should be done? We can now research together, read books together. And for people that are different levels, then that means you need to be patient and courage. We talked about empathy, listening. We said that a woman wants to talk. Or someone also asked a question. How can you handle a woman that nags from a woman that walks? So sometimes you don't know whether the woman wants to talk or the woman is just nagging. And I think that sometimes a woman nags because she feels that you're not listening. A woman actually is talking, but when you're not listening to her, then she begins to get angry. In her anger and annoyance, then she begins to nag. So the reason why she moved from talking to nagging is because when she was talking, you were not listening. So she, Dr. Michaels has given us an acronym, ALT. Attention, listen to her, pay attention to what she's saying. When you're paying attention, they are not verbal clues. That means she's saying something, but behind what she's saying, she's actually saying love, saying 30%, and what she's not saying is the 70%. And you can only get that through attention and listen to. So what listening to, then when you start listening to, then she can talk more and not nag. So that's the difference. Thank you, Dr. Michael. Thank you for people that experience sexual boredom. We need to coach ourselves out of it. Experience new styles, enjoy yourselves, listen to yourselves, communicate. Know the why. Why are you having sex is very important. Why? Just like the purpose for living. Okay, so Dr. Michaels, what is cyber sex? And does it count as cheating? Cyber sex, does it count as cheating?
Very tricky question. Wow, like in an era where there's just coming out of pandemic, there's social distancing, there's virtual training sessions are going on, virtual events, more like literally everybody's living on their phones, and the human contact is reducing. And the way I see it, I project that human contact is going to reduce over the next couple of years, that is literally going to be the future. That is going to affect marriages, and that is going to affect human contact, and that's going to boost cyber sex. Interestingly, it's going to boost cyber sex, and cyber sex it can be done by anybody. It's done by anybody. It ranges from virtual reality sex to sexting to
sexting. So
because cyber sex is anything that you do on the internet.
Sex.
Yeah, cyber sex is anything you do on the internet. It's any sexual activity you carry out on the internet. And so if it's among couples, there are couples who have long distance who don't live together. How are they going to be able to have sexual contact?
Enjoy pleasure, have pleasure in their relationship.
Exactly. So that is a question. Then there are also questions about cyber sex between those who are not married. Now, there are many people, singles today are going through a lot. And married people today are literally rubbing it on the faces of the singles that we are legally married, and so we can have sex. But don't be deceived. Married people don't have sex. They've not been having sex regularly. Don't be deceived. Don't be deceived by what you see on the internet. Married people usually don't have sex regularly the way they are supposed to. But they come out and harass singles. I mean, what's all that? Singles are really going through a lot. So, so singles engage a lot in cyber sex because that's the only way they can really ease off the tension of the country, the tension of the workplace, the tension all over the world. So saying that cyber sex is totally wrong is wrong. You need to have empathy. You first of all need to understand what people are going through. Having said that, we need to now ask, what is prompting me to go into cyber sex? What is prompting me to open up myself to a total stranger? What is prompting me to throw away privacy? Because there's an issue of privacy in cyber sex. What's prompting me to just throw away privacy and just maybe just put up personal information out there about myself? So if you are putting up personal information about yourself, you need to be in the right frame of mind. You need to have a good mental state to be able to know what to put out and what to not put out. And there's a thin line between what to put out and what you should not put out. So cyber sex is so complex that you will need to ask yourself a lot of questions. And you need to be in the right frame of mind to be able to answer those questions. And it's more like it can also get addictive, and it can also literally prevent you from even going to work. It can take up your attention, and then your attention is drawn away from what you're supposed to do. And then it literally becomes a place where you enter to relieve yourself of stress, and it's almost taking over your life. So there's a thin line in all those things, and it's very complex.
Thank you, Dr. Michael. So Dr. Michael is saying that it's not about condemning whatever anybody is doing right now. It's about looking at why. For people that distance, I think there's a self-indulgence that happens around cyber sex as well. Just like we talked about masturbation and use of sex toys, this habit can become a life of its own and take over your life. It can distort your attention and all that. It can stop you from even going out because everything you need is in the house. You can order food, all that, and so you can also order sex. So you can also order sex right there where you are. With just all you need is internet. And if you're not careful, maybe if someone is married and you're sexting another person, that's cyber sex as well. So it's not until there's a physical connection with the person or the exchange of feels. So there's a lot happening around us now. But most times, it might actually be someone is complement a void in his life. And that person will require help because an person will not want to expose himself to strangers right there on the internet and give out information that is private to them, except there is something that the person is trying to complement, maybe a loneliness, maybe a rejection, maybe someone just has a problem with self-esteem, even though the person can face another individual, but you can actually play a lot of anonymity on the internet, and maybe that is why a lot of people engage in that, where we're already running out of our time. And I think I should ask this question too that came in before now. So women love pains to be inflicted on them before sex. Should they seek help? Should they seek help psychologically, or is this feeling guided by a particular hormone?
When people go through psychological trauma and the rest like that, they also go through behavioral changes, and it kind of affects the way they think and the way their body function and the rest like that. So my own issue about BDSM and the rest like that, bond dominance, sadomasochism, is that we need to, just like other things, other self-indulgence stuff. Yes, a lot of people gain pleasure from it, and it helps them to ease off stress. But we need to find out what inspired this, or what is inspiring this, what is motivating this, what is giving rise to this. How did you start? When did you start? At what point? Then what kind of family are you coming from? What kind of trauma have you experienced? We want to be sure that this thing, this feeling, this desire that you currently have is not coming from a trauma. Because if it's coming from a particular traumatic experience that you have had, then it becomes very dangerous. Because it's literally going to ruin your life and ruin every aspect of your life. So, because if you want to cut down a tree, you can either cut down the stem of a tree, but the tree is still there. That's the secondary problem. Or you can go to the roots and cut down the roots, and then the tree falls. So we want to be sure that, okay, so after dealing with the primary problem, the traumatic experience, using 5-way interventional therapy regimen, we will now check and assess, do you still have the desire? Do you still want to be beaten? Do you still want your partner to inflict pain on you to enjoy sexual pleasure? So those are the things that we try to figure out. So we try to avoid saying no to masturbation, no to all these things, because this might be secondary problems. These are likely to be secondary problems. So we always want to figure out what the primary problem is, if there is a primary problem. And then we want to help the person solve the issue. Once the primary problem is dealt with, the secondary problem either becomes weakened or it dissolves. Once the secondary problem becomes weakened, then it's easier to manage by the person.
Thank you, Dr. Michaels. I think this goes to every other sexual behaviors that people frown at. There's a why before what we see, because I know about bondage sex and all that as well. There's a why. And if we don't address the why, this might actually, people might actually be playing out a, what we see is actually the display is a secondary problem. And until we take care of that primary problem, the people might actually go through what they go through and maybe never get help, because really, you really do not have to feel pain before the pleasure. God created the pleasure to be there before the pain. So, of course, people can have pain while doing the pleasure, but God does not want you to go through pain to enjoy the pleasure. So, if pain is not inflicted before you get the pleasure, then there's a problem, and such person needs to seek help. We have questions there, and what does somebody said, what are the healthy habits that affect a woman's sexual life? We've actually talked about, we've actually talked about empathy. We've actually talked about a man being the two people communicating and being psychologically prepared, because you cannot isolate sex. Sex are also the life skills you need in life. So those two go together. So if you show empathy in life, you show empathy in bed, you come out very well. So those are some of the experiences. Does the energy drink affect men sexually in life? There's so many drinks that they sell now. You know, they sell all kinds of drinks, all kinds of drinks. And you know, when men take these drinks, they feel that it gives them sexual energy. Of course, this could be a sexual this, it could enhance and do some things because of the things, but it doesn't mean it will make you better. You can enhance your penetration, delay your ejaculation, but it does not mean it will help you take that woman to the heavens that she really wished to be. So you can take all those things, your eyes are dirty, and you can go all through. You remember, sex is physical, more for men, but more psychological for women. So if a man's eyes is dirty, the man might not be able to take the woman along psychologically. So physically, he can get to his destination, but he leaves you at the bus stop. So the man gets to Ibadan and realizes that he didn't take his wife along with him. So that's what happens most times. So it's not that affects. The most important thing for people to grow into this. Of course, there are also some drugs for people with erectile dysfunction, for them to be able to have erection and all that. And for everyone that wants to take drugs to enhance sex, please see a doctor. Every drug is a potential poison. I'm a pharmacist and I know that. And even the drinks that will do, all those drinks they're marketing, a lot of them are potential poisons. So before you take something because you want to or you mix alcohol with okpei, with buruburu, all kinds of things are in the market now, please see a doctor. Because really, you might have it and the woman just feel pains after everything. She just feel pain. She didn't enjoy anything. Just like Dr. Michael said, she just open up, you go in and you go out, and you've not done anything, and you feel you've done well. The woman is just telling you, you have not done well. I read a feedback that the man is saying his wife now says thank you to him. The wife says thank you to him because he's taking the wife along psychologically. So those are what those drinks that we have in the market does. So Dr. Michael, I want you to tell our audience a closing remark, and also share your social media handles and where they can reach out to you when they have where they need to have a sex therapist attend to them.
Okay. I would like to say that if you understand yourself so well, and that will literally lead to you understanding your body, it would enhance your sexual experience. So just like any other thing in life, don't step into a business without self-discovery. Don't step into marriage without self-discovery. Don't step into parenting without self-discovery. Also, don't step into sex without self-discovery. It's going to be the greatest, the most dangerous things, or the most dangerous thing you can ever do. Like a wrong decision that you might end up making in life. So I'd like to close with that. Getting to know yourself and your purpose in life is the key to enjoying yourself, even in bed. I would love to give out my number, but you said it's It's not allowed.
You can, if you want to give out your number, you can.
Oh, great. I'm open to giving out my number. +234 81 41 630 817. +234 81 41 630 817. On Facebook, and Facebook is actually full, but Facebook, Ayodele Adewale in bracket Dr. Michaels. Then on Instagram, at Dr. Michaels1. Also at Instagram, self-actualization and therapy. Self-actualization and therapy, or Dr. Michaels1. You can also reach out to me on WhatsApp through that number. All right.
Thank you. Thank you very much, Dr. Michael. Thank you for giving out your numbers as well.
Thank you.
You can go over this and listen. I want to say thank you for everyone that has logged in today to bother about our life. You know, there's one thing I want you to take out of this session. Sexual habits are like normal habits that people have, and they are the routine things that we do. They are regular, and sometimes they now become subconscious. They have the capacity to develop a life of their own, and meaning that they can now become a process, a personality without your permission. And therefore, just like every other habit, all sexual habits that does not improve, all sexual habits that do not improve the quality of relationship of your partner, one has to begin to look at it. He mentioned 3 things that are very important. He said that the life skills that makes you succeed and work in life, if applied in the bedroom for sex skills, that the 2 people will be very, very good at it. Sex is psychological for women, and therefore, if a man wants to have good sex every evening, he has to begin to psychologically prepare the wife from the morning that she woke up. So don't just grab her when you have not improved on her psychological. Men should learn to listen. He actually praised a lot of women on this platform today. He said we're 10 times more intelligent than men. He said if a man keeps quiet on his wife, he has kept quiet on his own life. And that's remarkable comment for men. Shout out to every woman. God actually created him to full potential in and out of the bedroom. And for my people that makes this happen, I'll say thank you to you guys. Thank you for logging in. Let's enjoy the democracy celebration. It's June 12th. Thank God we're still together as a country. We hope for a better Nigeria. Thank you very much for coming on board. We hope to see you next month. See you. Thank you.